Now to one of Western Australia's much loved and most prolific painters. Old age and a recent illness hasn't slowed the creativity nor dulled the passion of artist Robert Juniper. At 83, he is still as busy as ever, creating what he says is his best work yet. Here's Claire Nichols.
You only need a studio space, a few tubes of colour and brushes, and turpentine and stuff, and you can. It's a pleasure creating something that wasn't there before.
He spent nearly 70 years in the studio. Robert Juniper has dabbled in sculpture, tapestry, set design and stained glass windows, but it's his work with the paintbrush and his evocative scenes of the Australian bush that have captured the imagination of the world.
Landscape is the subject matter, but what really is important, and this is what I'm doing now, is making marks on a two-dimensional surface. And I look really around the place to find landscape conforming to what I want to do.
At 83, Robert Juniper is a little stiffer and slower. A stroke 10 years ago robbed him of the use of his left hand. While his creativity hasn't waned, his health has. The artist was seriously ill in October last year and was forced to confront his own mortality for the first time.
I got up one morning and Patricia, my dear wife, said to me, "How are you feeling?" And I said, "Well, I'm not feeling very well, actually." So the next thing, there's an ambulance on the driveway. They carted me off to hospital with oxygen.
The artist had fluid on his lungs and needed immediate surgery.
I nearly said to one of the doctors, "Don't let me die because I've got a lot of work to do." I spoke sternly to myself in a semi-conscious state and ended up with "Snap out of it, Juniper, you silly so-and-so," which I did.
While Robert Juniper's recovery was stalled by another medical complication, the weeks in hospital proved to be fertile ground for the artist. His cardiologist was the unlikely motivation for his next major art project.
And he came into the room one day and he said, "Robert, I'd like you to do something." And I said, "What's that, Johan?" And he said, "I'd like you to paint an abstract painting of your feelings about being in hospital." And that immediately came into my mind.
The Doctor is the subject of the new work, a work that will be entered into the Archibald contest this year. It's one of 3 new paintings ready for different competitions, all created in a burst of productivity since Robert Juniper's return to the studio.
It keeps one's name or work in the public eye. I have won the Win Prize twice. I wouldn't mind doing it again just before I cark it. I think they're the best works that I've done so far. Well, it's got all my years of experience and maturity in it.
With a new lease on life, Robert Juniper is making the most of every moment. Each day is marked by a trip to feed the kangaroos and a catch-up at the pub. But it's the call of the studio and the paintbrush that's the strongest of all.
Artists don't retire, so ideally it would be another decade, although that's asking a bit much. Says he looking at heaven.